Cardio and weights, it's a great combination if you want overall health and fitness. But which one do you do first? What are the rules when it comes to workout programming? Cardio first? Weights first? Which one gives you better results, and does it matter what your goal is? Is that how we can answer this question? We're going to break it down and break down more right now. Let's get into it.
Oh, it matters.
Yeah.
The rules.
This came up for me because of my conversations with my daughter with she's getting
she just want to lose no muscle.
yeah, I know, she's helping me
She's going to get ready for sport though,
Yeah.
right? Is that what it is? Right
She
now?
is. She's getting ready for soccer. And
Keep them gains.
Yeah, I'm helping her with conditioning. And so this whole conversation with her came up, and she's like, well, when do I do it? Do I lose gains? What's the deal? And I'm trying to explain to her, how the body adapts and how certain adaptations will take away from others. So, when it comes to like balance, or if you want more stamina, or if you want more muscle, then programming matters. And what you do the most matters, and when you do it actually makes a difference. And this is a question, this has got to be one of the most common questions we get.
How much do you think doing it fed or in a calorie surplus or deficit plays a role also?
Performance? Oh, yeah, that makes a big difference.
Well, not just performance, even on your results with it. Because this is the debate or the conversation here is like, okay, cardio before or after weights, depending on your goal. And is your goal to build muscle, or is it to get more stamina, or is it to both? And I think that doing that in a calorie surplus makes as much, if not more, of a difference than either arguing whether it should be done before or after also.
Yeah, I think that calorie surplus, that's a good point. I think the calorie surplus or deficit conversation revolves around either fat loss or performance gain. I want endurance. Well, you probably shouldn't train in a deficit. Yeah. I want strength. Well, you probably shouldn't lift in a deficit.
Right.
The deficit really has more to do with fat loss. Than
I'm
it always take away from performance.
I'm really thinking of your daughter in this example right now, because I obviously don't think she is at all in desire to lose weight at all. She wants to build muscle, and now she wants to build muscle and improve endurance. And so remaining in again, making sure you're in a calorie surplus.
Feeding that specific adaptation. And not,
more important.
Depriving it.
Yeah.
That's most important for sure, especially for a young athlete.
Right, because if she tips, and I think that's the point I just want to make, is just like, even though we're about to get into before or after, the biggest difference on whether you maintain that muscle or lose that muscle, especially once you start introducing cardio, is that you are in your maintenance is no longer the same, because now you're introducing more training. And so bumping the calories is probably one of the most important. And again, the reason why I bring this up is this was a bit of a challenge for me, because when I first started building muscle, I still loved playing basketball a lot. And
you were playing a lot.
And I was playing a lot. And it really hindered my muscle gain. Like, I wasn't necessarily losing anymore, but I was struggling to gain while simultaneously playing basketball.
Yeah. So when you look at how the body adapts, now part of this is that your body has limited ability to recover and then adapt. So when you are piling more and more stress on the body, you're taking away from your body's ability to recover and adapt, just because it's just more stress. So there's that. Then there's also that adapting in some directions actually takes away from other directions. What I mean by that is a larger muscle has a typically worse capacity for stamina and endurance. This is just a fact. And to really oversimplify it, if you look at the surface area to total volume of a cell, the larger the cell gets, the ratio of surface area to volume changes, so that getting oxygen and nutrients inside the muscle
just takes more
cell
work.
Just takes more work. It's just, a small, tiny cell has got a large surface area to total volume. So things can get in there very quickly. You get a large cell in this case. So larger muscles, all things being equal. I'm oversimplifying. So I know this. There's probably some science people like, well, there's this, that. Yes, this is a massive oversimplification. But a larger muscle, all things being equal, will have less endurance. But a larger muscle contracts harder, so it's stronger. So if you push in one direction, you tend to take away from one. And that's just the rule when it comes to certain adaptations. And then the way the body adapts, it generally will prioritize the one that you put the most energy towards, which tends to be the one you do first. So if you want endurance, do cardio first. If you want muscle, do strength training first. Now, I know what most people watching and listening are thinking is they're thinking, because most people don't train for performance, even though I know that makes Justin upset. Most people don't train for performance. They train for aesthetics, right? They're like, look, endurance, muscle gain, that's all great.
Yeah.
I just want to look good.
The majority.
So what should I do first if I just want to look good? Well, if you just want to look good, you're probably better off prioritizing building muscle over stamina, or strength over stamina, because of the way it affects body composition.
Yeah, but let's talk about your daughter's specific situation, because I think it's a great example, and I'm sure many people are in this situation where she's been currently really focused before soccer started to kick up. She'd been really focusing on building strength, building muscle.
And that was it.
She's loving it, right? That was it. And that was not fun. Now, okay, soccer comes up. Now, obviously, stamina, endurance ends up being a major priority, but still not more of a priority than all that muscle I built. So I'm imagining that the recommendation you probably gave her was, we're still going to strength train first. We're still going to eat in a calorie surplus, but now you'll do your cardio training afterwards, I think. Or did you actually go, hey, let's go stamina training first? Because I think she could still get the benefits and endurance that she wants for her sport with sacrificing less muscle than if she would do it first.
Typically, yes, but because we have a very short window, she gave me 4 weeks. So we have 4 weeks to build stamina and endurance. Mm-hmm. Some of her workouts, I'm having her do sprints before, and some of her workouts are just sprints.
Yeah.
So the strength training now she's doing far less of it. Instead of 3 days a week, it's down to once or twice. And there are a couple days where it's just conditioning, because we got to get that. Now, 4 weeks isn't a super short period of time. You can build tremendous changes in endurance in a short period of time.
Yes.
But you got to be smart about it, because what I don't want to do, and now we're getting into the weeds a little bit, but you guys know this, if you just pile more on top of more, then you start to run into problems. And young athletes, especially young female athletes, have a very high risk of certain types of injury, which I'm also, as a dad, I'm way more interested in preventing injury than I am in maximizing every little bit of performance.
Yeah.
I want to make sure she doesn't tear an ACL, which is like, the odds of that on female athletes.
I mean, I actually think 4 weeks is a good amount of time
for endurance.
For conditioning. To your point, that, man, you could really. I mean, this is the reason why every kid that played sports in high school is used to Hell Week. You know, I don't care what sport you play, whether it's football, basketball, whatever, and you have a week of basically conditioning. Now, granted, you're not in your top form, right, until probably a month or two later into the season, which is pretty standard. That's standard even for the professional level. You'll hear guys they'll get that conditioning training going a week or two before the preseason starts. Then preseason starts. Then it's really a good couple months before they feel like they're at their
Do you guys think, Justin, you'll know this because you were a high level of football. First off, do they still do Hell Week? And Hell Week was, if I'm not mistaken, you go in for a week and it's like 2 workouts a day and they beat the crap out of you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it really to boost endurance and stamina in a short period of time, or is it more to weed kids out?
At the high school level, it depends. But a lot of times Hell Week is to kind of like filter out the serious.
Well, maybe for freshmen, but not for once you're at varsity, you're on the team.
Well, I mean, it depends if you're making cuts or not, or if they're just accepting everybody on the team. These days, like, it's hard to get kids to actually like sign up. So parents,
they don't cut as much.
They don't really cut. Like it's interesting. Yeah, there's not a lot of like volume like they used to have to really do
What
that.
is it? Could you look that up, Doug? I was curious about that because of all the concussion stuff and
that made a huge dent. That's why I'm like half the time on the podcast I'm trying to kind of advocate and like kind of bring some light to the benefits.
Yeah, because
I didn't even think about that. How much? I mean, back when I was a kid in high school, football looked like this.
In the 90s, it was a lot of kids.
Oh yeah, freshman year they took everybody, and the team had like 60 kids on it. I mean, you look at the side of the freshman football team, and there'd be 40 kids who wouldn't even see the field. It was so crazy, but they took everybody in, and that was kind of and then you get to JV. Once JV started, then you started making cuts.
Yeah.
But even then, you still had a big roster, and then varsity got a little bit slimmer, but there was always such a high demand that they made cuts before they came into the season.
Yeah, and typically, so Hell Week is a lot of just pure conditioning, and then we would do double days the following week. So that was more like practice heavy. So you would practice, and trying to establish like these plays and drills takes a lot of volume, and so you have to like get as many, and it's almost like one of those things you can get away with what you can get away with based on the standards of the league. And so they'll over practice. Like we even did sometimes we did 3 practices just because there's so much to establish with offense alone.
I kind of feel like a big part of it was to weed out kids. So because if you
initially,
because so many kids want to play. I don't know if it's like, I don't think it's like,
I mean, it wasn't, the reason why, so it wasn't like that for me. You once you get to conditioning week, you made the team. Like we're not weeding anybody out anymore. This is and what it looked like for us in basketball and soccer was morning was conditioning, afternoon was play running. Okay. So and it was the week to 2 weeks before season started. And in the morning was pure, which was always miserable, getting up at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning to just run your ass off. But that's what morning looked like. And then you come back in the evening or late afternoon, and now we're running drills, we're running plays, and we're learning all that stuff. And that's what it looked like. But I do remember how much, and we're all kids, so we were, goofing off in the summer and playing video games and eating junk food. And so, I wasn't good enough an athlete that I was thinking about, basketball in the summertime. I'm wakeboarding and having fun.
Up,
So that week is hell. That's why they call it that, to get back in shape with that. But how much of a jump you make in 1 week?
Yeah, stamina adaptations are crazy.
It's incredible.
Yeah, they're crazy fast. They happen very quickly. Today's workout program giveaway is MAPS Aesthetic. If you want to enter to win, here's what you do. Leave a comment below this video in the first 24 hours that we drop it here on YouTube. I want you also to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. That'll enter you to win. We also have a sale this month. MAPS GLP-1 is half off. This is a workout program with diet advice, supplement advice, lifestyle advice for people who use a GLP-1. So if you use Ozempic, Wegovy, semaglutide, tirzepatide, you want to maximize the fat loss, you want to keep your muscle, keep your metabolism humming, you want to maximize it all, follow this program. It's half off. Go to mapsglp1.com. Use the code GLP50 for the discount. Back to the show.
All right, real quick, if you love us like we love you, why not show it by rocking one of our shirts, hats, mugs, or training gear over at mypumpstore.com. I'm talking right now. Hit pause, head on over to mypumpstore.com. That's it. Enjoy the rest of the show.
But yeah, when it comes to workout programming, like what you do in the beginning of the workout is where you're going to get, this is just kind of a general rule, where you get most of the adaptations. This is true for body parts too. So training an exercise or a body part first in the workout tends to prioritize it, which this can sometimes break certain rules, right? So let's say you're doing a standard split, chest, shoulders, and triceps today, and you're like, my shoulders are a total weak spot. But almost every workout plan you'll see with the chest, shoulder, tricep split will start with chest. Now, there's great rationale behind this, right? Chest exercises require both the strength and stability of the shoulders and the strength of the triceps. So you don't want to fatigue the shoulders, because then how are you going to do chest effectively, right? But if your shoulders are a weak part and your chest is a strong part, well, now this is a little bit of a bodybuilding principle. Why not hit shoulders first? In fact, we wrote MAPS Muscle Mommy this way. We did shoulders before chest on some of those workouts.
Yes,
mainly because women are far more interested.
Yeah, most women are going to care more about having nice shoulders than
That's right.
Pecs.
That's right. Which breaks one of the quote unquote kind of rules with that kind of stuff. Same thing with like isolation or compound lifts first. Usually compound lifts first, but isolation exercises first. If you have trouble connecting, I think this is a great way to connect to particular muscle. You do an isolation exercise for a body part, then move into compound lift, and it just changes the feel and the technique of the exercise, the compound lift, so you can feel that body part even better.
Yeah, it's interesting too. Like I was thinking about like the conditioning itself, and it's changed a lot with like people's strategy for that, and like they've actually reduced quite a lot of the volume because it's unnecessary. And the other thing too, it's like if you think about like maintaining muscle mass, if you're running sprints and you're doing it in a diligent way where you're not going for too much of an extended period of time.
Yes.
You're actually like hitting fast twitch muscles
Yes.
and it's preserving the muscle more effectively as opposed to like thinking of this as like an endurance. Like I need to like extend the amount
That's
of
right.
time I'm running on this type of energy system. So
Yeah.
You recently, I mean, it was just last year, the year before, you coached high school football, and that's a good 20 plus years more that since you were playing in high school.
Oh, yeah.
What
Yeah,
what did you see most different about like the conditioning and training aspect of it compared to when you were a kid?
Well, I think they were trying to resurrect a lot of the old ways we used to do that. And I was trying to advocate for a different way based upon what I've talked to with like people like Kula and a lot of these like strength conditioning coaches, mainly for, again, and you're seeing this in the NFL, like people dropping like flies, with injuries and just the amount of the extended amount of time you could have them play at a high level. I think that we really have to reevaluate that, and also the amount of like collisions. And so they're really monitoring that a lot more so with like these high contact type sports to drill more specifically the movement. So the cuts, like, and be more diligent instead of it being aimless running. So it's not just like I'm running like 100-yard sprints constantly because it just doesn't have that same translation to the game. So if you get more specific with gameplay bouts and you time it. So let's just say it's basketball and you know that you're going to have like, 30 seconds where you're moving really hard and explosively, and then boom, you rest.
Yeah, you know what we forget too is movement efficiency. We look for what we tend to train for is like gross stamina, like general overall stamina.
Right.
And we forget that moving better reduces your energy requirements and output. So like if you have good technique.
Exactly, dude.
This is a simple, silly example. If you've ever watched two people play either tennis or back in the day racquetball, and you'd see someone who's really good versus someone who's just athletic but not super good. The really good player just places the ball and just has great technique, and they're just chilling. The other person's running back and forth, and they're getting fatigued.
Yep.
Like if you know how to move well, you require less energy.
That's such a good point, dude. Like it honestly, like if they get proficient in these movements and then you really establish that early, on the field, their endurance
gas out
will be
less.
crazy. Yeah, you don't gas out
Because you got really, really good technique.
Yeah, so if coaches really focus more and peered into that concept, they would do so much better.
So more specific type movements, and then I'm also hearing too, which I think is new to like our generation now. It wasn't when we were kids. Is load management, right? It's like that was, and I remember when we were talking to who's our boy? Cannot think from the Suns. Played coach for the Suns right now.
Corey Schlesinger.
Thank you, Corey. Shout out to Corey. How that we've now moved into that era where, and you see it now in professional sports. And you never used to see this in the 80s and the 90s where, Michael Jordan played like every game, every minute, like the whole time, where now like they're very mindful of how many games, their minutes they play, and they like it's totally different. It was like you used to just keep your best guy on the court as much as you possibly can. Yeah. Where now you're like thinking long term, like, oh, once he hits to a certain amount of minutes in a week and time, and like I remember Corey blowing my mind that they were actually tracking that on a practice level, and I didn't think that
outside of them practicing, all the extended amount of movement.
Here's what's really interesting, because I've seen some studies on this. Now, there's not a ton of data to support this, but it makes me very curious. And based on my experience, I would lean in this direction. I'd love your guys' input on this. So the original question was cardio before or after weights, right? Depends on your goal, blah, blah, blah. There's some studies that show that separating them completely is actually better. In other words, instead of doing cardio before or after weights, do cardio by itself on a day, do weights by itself on a day, or differently, a week of strength, a week of endurance, a week of strength. There was a study on that showed that it improved overall performance. Instead of doing it all in one workout or throughout the week, they did a focus of strength, then a focus of endurance. And it was literally every other week.
That allows you to get good at it.
Yeah. Well, this is what Corey was talking about, right? That was what's so cool and unique. Not only that, but he was communicating to the strength coach, and he, based off of he was the strength coach, would communicate to the basketball coach, and he'd be like, "What was practice like? What kind of intensity did you run them at? How and they were actually tracking and monitoring the amount of steps, and then he would turn around and when he would get to his strength training, he would modify the intensity based off of how hard they went in that, and so." I mean, you really should be. Where I think to the point how this all started, referring back to when we grew up, was just like throw the whole kitchen sink, right?
Everything.
Yeah, just make it hard, as hard as possible, and you're gonna get some stamina. You get that where it's like much more methodical. And so, how this conversation started. What is the most methodical approach to the student athlete like your daughter, who has worked in the off season to build muscle, still really cares about keeping all that muscle, but knows they have to get.
It's interesting. So what I did with her was I actually, like I said, I split it up, and now I'm glad I did. So now she'll go to the gym. In fact, she was upset with me, of course, because she just wants to lift.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, today all you're going to do are sprints. And I, broke it down for her how she's going to do the sprints and how she's going to coast in between, wait for her heart rate to come down, the whole deal. What about lifting? Next workout will be just lifting. And I'm so glad I did that. Yeah. I think that's a good. Better way.
You don't convolute it that way.
You don't convolute it. No. I think your adaptations are better.
Yes.
I think the intention's better. They don't take away from each other because they're divided. And I would like to in fact, I'm playing with the idea now as we're talking of personally experimenting with this with myself, just because of my training and what I tend to always do and not do. I think I might experiment with that, where I'll do like a week of what I like to do and then a week of like different stuff and alternate it. So at least I have that week where I have my, the stuff that my ego likes to do.
God, I imagine you would get in phenomenal shape.
Probably.
Like, I mean, it's the hardest part about, I think, who we are or what we do is knowing what I should do, and then falling
into patterns. Of what you
like.
Yeah.
I'm well aware of what my regimen should look like, for like to have all these optimal things. But it's funny how
apparently I need to go on a cut. So.
Wait, I didn't know I was going to bring this up. What happened?
I'll bring it up.
Someone commented on a video of yours or something?
Yeah, it's and they're trying to be funny, and and I like
that's probably what it is, dude.
Half of it,
how many comments?
It's just the one? Thing when you're like overhead position, or like my shirt like lifts up because I'm like this, and it's just not really bad.
Your fupa came out,
and then you don't flex at all, so you're just letting it all like out like that. And I'm like, fuck, you got me. But so I was like, I'm like, this isn't even hard. Like, okay, cool. So I just have to like reduce calories for all. Yeah, I'll show you.
No.
Wow. How many comments was it? Just one?
Probably one.
It's probably like 3.
Oh, you got 3? Okay.
So that was significant enough to where I was like,
leave him alone.
It's fine, dude.
Hey, one of the things I've learned to do is because we have because we razz each other so much on here that
they think that
so most people probably are just
how many times I've seen you do this a couple times where someone will razz you because we do on the show?
Yes.
And here's the thing: you listen to the podcast,
it seems like
us.
Yes.
So I've seen Adam fire back hard, and the guy's like, "Hey man, I love you guys."
Yeah, I don't do that anymore. I don't do that. I haven't done that in a long time. I used to early on because I wasn't sure, and I'm like, "Hey, someone's gonna come at me like that. I'm gonna fucking respond." You know what I'm saying? But then I come so hard that the person's like, I was just kind of I love the show. I'm being, but it just doesn't land the same. So more than likely, that's probably the situation.
It's probably because everybody's at the Olympia this weekend, and they're so everybody's shredded.
It was a big weekend.
Yeah.
I don't really follow anymore, but I it's funny whenever that happens. By the way, I was just talking to Adam about this. I'm also realizing that we've always done this in bodybuilding. They'll take the current champion and compare him to like the champion of like 10 or 20 years ago, be like, they don't look the same. They were way better. Like, we were doing that too back in the day. I wonder if that's just a thing.
It is.
Just the old like they were better before.
Yeah.
It's like the old dad who's always talking about like, that generation. So every generation says that. Every dad talks about what a bunch of pussies you guys all are, and this generation will do for the next.
But that's true for ours.
It is.
It is true. It's a little bit.
It just degrades.
The reason why it's so popular is because I believe that every of those generations truly believe that. I mean, it is. I mean,
I can't argue with my dad. He'll tell me stuff how he grew up.
And I bet you his dad
tougher than us.
Yeah, the Great Depression was above that. So I mean, they were going to go. Well, they're a bunch of wusses. So. Yeah, no, I think that's one of those things that's common is that we get weak, and I think that has a lot to do with probably technology and convenience. I mean, the market,
the demand for making life easier physically is so strong.
I mean, it's part of
always innovating that direction.
Yeah, that's exactly. So it's like it's inevitable what's going to happen. I mean, even if you try to go out of your way to make other things difficult, the market has done such a good job of trying to simplify, make everything else easier, that if you adopt half of it, you're a wuss. You know what I'm saying?
You know
Like
what's
you're going to be looked at from the previous generation as
you
a
know
wuss.
what's wild about all that? I brought this up before. I was thinking about this the other day. Like there's certain things we take for granted now, like dishwasher, washing machine, microwave, of course, computers that have really reduced the amount of time that you need to do certain things.
Mm-hmm.
Like the time saving devices for the home are crazy. Like if you look at the data on how much literally a washing machine, dishwasher, and microwave took away from the amount of time that people had to spend doing those things. But what's crazy is we have less time. We've created all this time saving devices,
cram all this stuff in between,
and now yet we feel like we have like we're trying to fit everything in more than ever, which is wild.
You know, it always like opens my eyes. So every once in a while, Katrina and I have a day or two off of Max. He's with his mom or my sister or something like that. And I know you guys have experienced this when it's been a long time since something like that happened, and you're just like, and you don't have like normally we probably all, you know, if a kid's gone for a day or two, you have plans, right? But if you don't have plans, how wild that day is. I mean, of like. What are we gonna do? There's like so many hours. Like there's so much of nothing. I'm like, this was most of my life. What was I doing? You know what I'm saying?
It gets like uncomfortable.
Well, you know, it does. It makes me go back. God, what a wuss I was back when I didn't have a kid. I could have built so many companies. I could have done so many things. I could have read so many more books.
I've had the same thought.
Oh, I had that thought all the time. Because Katrina and I, we just had a day like that where we didn't have Max, and we actually didn't have like plans.
What'd you guys do? Just sit around?
Well, yeah, we had a beautiful day ourselves in the house. And we ended up doing something, doing around the house and lounging, but we did all of it. I mean, we worked out, we lounged, we watched movies, we had epic sex, we swam in the pool, and we still had time left over. Like,
we got 3 hours left.
We still had time. It was like, how's this possible?
That's when I get a random call from Adam. Hey, man.
What's going on?
Hey, bro.
I don't know.
Just want to talk.
Something happened? No, you were supposed to say hi. Like, what's going on?
Just don't have a kid for a day. Yeah, it's a trip,
dude. I was reading up on exosomes because this is like a big thing in skincare. So Caldera Lab, one of our sponsors, uses exosomes in a lot of the products. Do you know what these things are? So I looked up what they are because I keep hearing
where do
about.
they get them from? Like,
so it was really, wasn't it Dr. Khan that put us on to this first, right?
Yes.
Like I didn't even know what they were and I remember him telling us like, this is the future.
Yep.
Of like everything is going to be around this.
So these are very small, very
baby
small,
cells, right?
Membrane-bound vesicles, and they essentially what they do is they contain things like proteins, lipids, nucleic acids. Anyway, they tell cells to do things. And so when they put these in skincare products, you're essentially signaling the skin to boost collagen production, to reduce inflammation. You are signaling your skin to become essentially younger.
Oh, you're signaling. So I was under the impression it was
not too unlike a peptide, but different.
Yeah, I thought they were like baby stem cells.
Yes, kinda. They you can get them from stem cells. They're not baby stem cells, but you can get them from stem cells.
Okay.
But they do signal cells.
So they're actually signaling cells. So I was under the impression, and why it's so amazing. It's like, you know, part of the aging process, right? Is our cells all of our cells are aged. They're no longer 10 years old. They're 50 years old, and then 60 and 70 and so on. And the idea of you putting these exosomes in your body is like you are basically rejuvenating all these cells and making you younger. And so that's not what we're doing. We're signaling our cells that we already have.
You're signaling the cells.
Oh, I thought we were like replacing.
No, you're signaling the cells to do things like rejuvenate, reduce inflammation, boost collagen production. And I'm looking up some of the data on these, which is pretty wild. By the way, the exosomes are being looked at not just for skin, but for other uses in medicine, repairing the heart, repairing the organs. Yeah. But real easy to use it on the skin. You just rub it on the skin there, because the delivery method would be difficult for other areas like the heart. Like how would you get exosomes to the heart? You'd have to like inject
direct it to the heart. How you do that?
Right. But I mean, these studies I'm seeing, I'm looking up studies. By the way, they're studying it for cancer research. So it's pretty interesting stuff.
I didn't know that Caldera was going that direction.
They are, and they use plant-based exosomes because all their products are natural,
That's
right?
cool.
Not synthetic. So, and the new stuff that I used with the exosomes, I can tell a difference. I love the good, but it's the other ones.
I guess they're trying the stuff, the cream. Yeah, I'm looking tired all the time.
Yeah, dude.
Tired and fat.
Why you do that?
It's just double hit, dude.
The rest of the day.
Tired and fat.
45.
You need some Caldera and Juve in
It's
your
fine.
life.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the other one.
Ooh, I
know
told
what?
you I'm gonna start
Combine
jump
those.
roping and sprinting, dude. That's like
Combine
my next
those
on the
right there.
horizon.
Yeah, combine it. Hold on, you're doing jump rope again?
Yeah.
When? When'd you start?
Just start over the weekend.
How do you feel? Oh, is it because of the comments?
No, it's just 'cause no, I
Wait a
didn't
minute.
care about that. I was like
He's
doing
a liar.
it anyways.
He's such a liar, dude. He started against you guys shamed him into doing all this stuff, you guys.
No. I wanted to do it anyway because I sit. Okay, so here's the thing. I've been going to my son's practice for lacrosse,
Yeah.
and I sit there in the stands, and then like I've started to kind of like walk the track because it's like what else you do. I love watching him practice because it's like this is a new sport for him. He's doing really well, and like it fires up that old like competitive spirit for me. But just seeing everybody moving, on the field, it's like I got this massive FOMO. So, that's just
You're
one of
so
those
different than me that kicks you up. I would have been out there. I would have got the comfy chairs for the I would have been out there
Yeah, I
one
don't know. It
practice.
doesn't work like
and
that
I would
for
be
me.
like, watch
Yeah.
those guys and be like, I need to get myself like
I
one
thought
of those.
he was going to say,
I want to get out there and like play.
I thought he was going to say, sitting like that.
That's
my
what
knees hurt
dude,
too when I
that's
sit like
what
that.
I was thinking. I was like, I'm already thinking like those good bleacher chairs they have with the back and like the cup holders.
No, I look at it like I wake up and my hips hurt and this hurts. I was like, if I'm gonna hurt, I might as well do it doing something cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, jump
I'm
rope.
tired of like oh god.
I think
woke up
jump
and I
rope
hurt.
is super underrated for agility. Well, it's not underrated in combat sports, but for like a workout, I think it's incredible.
I did it a lot, yeah, and it definitely because I just noticed right away if I'm not on my forefoot and I'm like very flat footed and I'm like walking or running, that gets to me. So I can get that spring back.
You brought up Juve. I had somebody ask me recently what's the best biohacking thing, and I hate that term biohacking.
Yeah,
but I would consider biohacking category everything that's not the exercise, diet,
well, not
sleep,
natural,
right? Well, just anything that's not exercise, diet, and sleep, right? What are the things outside of that make the biggest difference? And I would have to say, outside of the big rock stuff, it's got to be the red light therapy. That's what the data shows.
Well, I don't know anything that I would even come close to comparing that in the biohacking.
it has the
world.
best studies for sure.
A lot of
dude.
A lot of the other stuff.
I mean,
was
sauna's up there, but would that be considered a biohack? It's been around forever. I don't really consider that a biohack. That's kind of
not
like,
really.
even though it has tremendous benefits. But red light has got to have, the data on it is crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, for people listening, look up studies on red light therapy for muscle gain, recovery, hair loss, for testosterone production, for pain, inflammation, healing, fat loss, skin. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy, the data on it.
So I was always you cleared this up for me the other day, and I thought that the red light saunas were using the same red light as the red light therapy. It's not.
No, it's not red light. It's infrared.
So that it definitely means I should combine the two of them because I always thought that was like I mean that
Throw your
would
panel in there.
yeah. That's the way. So I just ordered mine. My sauna, so we're gonna build out that outside.
Which,
now.
by the way, infrared. The sauna that I typically use is at the gym, and it's just it's like a traditional sauna where it just gets really hot, 190 degrees.
You bought an infrared though, didn't you?
I bought an infrared one.
Yeah,
and it's not nearly as hot, but you sweat fast.
Yeah.
I just suddenly am.
That's
just
what's weird
sweating my
about it.
butt
Is it
off.
doesn't feel that hot in the room, but you start
Crazy sweating.
Yeah, sweating like that.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. Have you put your Juve panel in there yet? Because that's
No,
what
we have it on the outside.
Yeah, so that's what I'm gonna put the Juve panel either in it or right against the glass so I can get it while I'm sitting in there and combine the two of those.
For microplastics, for xenoestrogen, stuff like that, sauna's got to be the best. Kind of your best bet. Just sauna.
Oh
regular.
yeah.
Get
all the longevity studies that have came out for it that was the motivation for
lymphatic
it.
draining. Yeah,
when I saw
necessary.
just doing that 2 to 3 times a week, the benefits of that, and I'm like, you know what, like that's a bare minimum. I could be doing that on days that if I didn't train at my house, and I like doing that anyway.
Yeah, psyllium husk, and then like sauna. I've been.
Are you doing the
cognizant of
psyllium
that.
husk?
Yeah, because of the microplastics.
How's your poop? The psyllium husk really makes that big difference.
It's been great, man. Thanks for
I mean,
asking.
it does. It does. It really helps.
It is. It really slides
That's the old
out.
guy
nicely.
talk.
Oh, I saw that the stand up, sit down clip has gone all over the place. I had all kinds
It's such a debate. I tell you.
Oh, really?
People who wipe when they're sitting versus wipe when they're standing.
Well, okay, if you're somebody who does both, do you go in?
Why would you do both?
I do both.
You start sitting
Both?
and then you stand.
Absolutely. I was just pooping right next to you today.
I know that's what made me think about. By the way.
you're like
him and I were having a conversation.
Yeah,
Do you dry and then wet wipe?
I do, and I do both.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I do.
I do both
I'm
those, but
I'm thorough.
TMI.
No, hold on, Doug. We're not getting all
This
crazy.
is health, Doug. Yeah,
This is health stuff.
Guy who doesn't wipe over here. You know what I'm saying? This is getting uncomfortable. I don't want to talk about
it,
this.
you guys.
I skipped that part.
I'm like Kim Jong Un, you know.
Get over my hand.
Real uncomfortable over here.
Doug's all, I laid down and put my legs up. What do you guys do?
Wait, we wipe afterwards? What?
Wipe what?
I
What do
don't
you
use
mean?
my hands.
It's so weird that I never have had that conversation or even
Is
thought
it
about
split
that.
like a 50-50?
It's one of those. It's you know how the toilet paper
More
one.
people sit than stand.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's like a little bit more people. That's like
I feel like it makes
that's
sense.
what the
But
survey
you know, it's like the toilet paper roll thing, right? Is this way the right way or that way, or the roll roll this way? It's like one of those
facing
things.
you or behind.
You could tell if somebody has kids based off their toilet paper roll because the
Because the
aesthetic
opposite.
the aesthetic way to do it is over.
Yeah.
But if you have kids
and they
they'll-
do this.
they'll just spin that crap down and then so you have the other way. 100%. Speaking of getting old and stuff, my buddy just started TRT, and so I haven't seen him in a little while. So he's like on week 6 of TRT.
Oh yeah, it's
Oh, I
kicking
can
in.
see a difference.
Yeah,
dude.
Is he loving it?
Well, he's telling me, he's like, he does jujitsu and he's like, yeah, I feel more energy, this and that. Of course, I'm trying to talk him into taking more because they're super conservative. I'm like, you can take way more, right? He's like, well, so far I feel so good. I don't know if I want to. I'm like, all right, whatever. But I could tell by like how he looked.
Yeah.
Like he looked
Well,
less.
remember that study that came. When did that study come out? The one where they compared the group who worked out naturally, the group who took steroids and didn't work out, and then the group who took steroids and worked out. And the group that didn't do any exercise but took testosterone surpassed the group.
built a little bit more muscle than the natural guys who were lifting, and they didn't work out.
That's
a little deflating.
I know, and that's not going to last. By the way, I think if you extend that study out, then you're done. You're not going to get any more.
Yeah, because you get adapted.
Of course,
And
and
you
that's
gotta lift.
I
You
mean,
gotta-
I think that's the point that I'm glad you brought that up because I've heard people talk about it, and it's just like it just shows you what it's like. Okay, you do understand that
Like in a window.
Yeah, well, you elevate testosterone levels like that, and your body is going to go like, oh, all the things that you normally do, you change nothing.
Become
but
more anabolic.
You can become more anabolic. So you get up and down from your chair, you pick things up, you move around, and so
It's a signal by itself.
it'll signal, hey, we need some muscle for this stuff that we do. It'll adapt and it'll build, and in a short window. It'll do it at a faster rate than somebody who's got.
It wears
lower
off
testosterone.
after like 4 or 5 months. You're not going to.
Oh, I would say
strength
I
train.
would say even less than that. I'd say after you get the first initial gains from your daily activity from not working out and taking testosterone.
Oh, yeah.
You're at a
drop
hard
off fast.
Yeah, you're not
You're
going
not
to get
working
anything
out.
else.
But I could tell because he walks in and I was like, "Hey, dude, look at you, bro. You look all." And then he's talking to me, and we were at a party, and they had it catered, so we ate like tacos, this and that. And he's like, "Dude, I'm so heavy today. What the heck's going on?" I'm like, "Here's what's going to happen if you go on TRT and you don't clean up your diet. You're just going to be bigger." I said, "You want to get lean?
Keep packing on.
You got because you're going to hold some water too, buddy." So he's like, "Yeah, dude, this is
big
not
and
cool."
red.
Yeah,
Remember all those guys? You always could tell that guy in the gym. You know what I'm saying? Like change nothing but added testosterone.
Oh, God,
Yeah.
just a bunch of water weight.
I
red.
had this guy that worked for me. I won't say his last name. His name was Mike. His common name, so I could say it. And he would take so much gear. He was on so much steroids, and all he did was lift and eat garbage. He did nothing else. So he had a big belly, and he was red, and he just didn't look good. He was just terrible. And he was like, he must have been 30. I think he was 30, bro, but he looked like he was 40 because of just the wear and tear on his body.
I mean, to me, it's people like that in those stories that really give TRT a bad rap for what it is. It's like one,
He
probably
wasn't on TRT.
Well,
He
that's what
was
I'm saying.
on,
One, he's probably taking way more than that. Diet's terrible. And so that's a situation where that guy's not healthier for that. You know what I'm saying? But you take somebody who is in their mid to late 40s or beyond that has low testosterone, you put them on a therapeutic dose of testosterone and
have them work
and
out,
you eat whole foods and you work out, it is
Game changer.
life-changing.
Yeah.
Life-changing.
Yeah.
That guy that's in his mid to late 40s or older who has low or moderately low testosterone with an increase there with a healthy diet, that guy will feel like
in fact,
17 to 20 again.
In fact, I'll make this argument. But you know what though, Adam, be careful with that because the 17 to 20 feeling, it's not quite that. You know, I'm still 46. I can still tell.
Yeah, no, you're right. That's fair.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say,
but you definitely feel it.
Energy and strength wise, you feel like that.
Close,
again. What you don't feel like is the recovery.
I don't bounce.
The recovery and movement.
I hurt.
But also, I mean, that has a lot to do with that. Like you don't train that way anymore.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? Like maybe if it'd be interesting to see if I actually were to apply myself in the performance direction and really try. Yeah, if I would feel close to what I felt like.
Very gradual steps in that direction.
Yeah.
That's what like I mentioned that it was like very short windows of jump roping, like in comparison to what I used to do.
I'll make a statement that I think this is going to be a controversial one. So if I make the argument that low testosterone versus higher with TRT. So let's say you're walking around, we'll use total numbers, okay? Let's say
200.
Let's say your total number is, 250, which is below the threshold.
Yeah.
Going from 250 to 800 with TRT, generally, I'll say generally because there's always caveats, will improve your health, okay? Now, what if you're at like 400, to go from 400 to say like 900, I don't know if it would make a difference. In fact, I think super high testosterone, even within range, without exercise and good diet, it might either be a waste or might actually produce some problems. Because
without exercise,
because that's the conversation. How my buddy, he's like, should I go on? Because his wasn't like below the threshold, but he was kind of he was like at 400, which isn't great. And he's like, I don't feel so good. He's like, should I go on TRT? I'm like, look. You do jujitsu, you work out, you're going to use it. Yes. If you just sat around and did nothing, and you were couch potato and you ate garbage, I would say probably not a good idea, because now you're throwing, this kind of gas on a fire. Maybe not a good idea.
Body mass increase is not good mass.
Yeah, but if since he works out, and this is something he focuses on, I think it's a good idea.
I mean, here. First of all, if you're going back to the mid to late 40s or older, guy who's at anywhere below, even up to 400 and below, your first move is to just go lift weights, because a lot of times guys might go from 200 up to 400, 500, 600 just from lifting weights. So that should be your first line of defense anyways, is go work out and see where it moves from there. And then if you don't get enough or you still don't feel great, and then you put on the testosterone, and you stay with working out, huge difference. But what a waste of money or a waste of resources to throw that on there and then not work out. I mean, that to me, and the only way I would ever recommend that, you'd have to be like really low, low to where like a general practitioner would even say, you go 200 and a GP would go, hey, you need to
right. And the argument for that is your testosterone fluctuates based off of your lifestyle. It's very, very sensitive to it. I don't know if having high testosterone all the time is a good idea when you lead a really unhealthy lifestyle, because now you've got this anabolic drive that's going to what? And it could cause, my theory is it could cause issues. Again, if you're really low, different. But if you're like in the middle low, either waste of time or maybe not even good for you.
Well, I think I've told you this before, that I noticed that if I don't work out, that I get some of the side effects like gynecomastia and stuff like that. Because it's almost, and I don't know if that's because I'm putting it to use, and so there's less of it that aromatizes. I don't know if that's how that might be. I don't know if that's how that works or not, but I certainly can tell you from over a decade, and a half of being on TRT, there is a difference when I'm on it and I'm working out versus when I don't. I've had plenty of times where I haven't, and it seems like when I don't, some of it aromatizes, and I'm sensitive in that area. As long as I'm training 2-3 times a week, and it feels like it has somewhere to go and work, I feel perfect.
So also this weekend, we're all hanging out. My cousin Alex was there. You guys know Alex.
Yeah.
He's founder of Dynasty Tech Company or whatever. And conversation turned to AI, which he's in the middle of that whole thing, right? He's in the whole. I bet. And we were talking amongst each other. So Alex and I, and then I have all my cousins and my brother and all of us. And Alex and I were trying to communicate just how much it's going to change things. And they're just like, no, it's this and that. And my cousin Alex is like,
well, you have people in your family that don't think it's going to
yeah, dude. They're like, well, no, not really. And he's like, you have no idea. Because what I was saying to them, they were asking, this is how the conversation started. So we're talking and they're like, hey, Sal, I heard you guys at Mind Pump are really moving towards coaching and training and people. And I said, yeah. I said, we did that because we wanted to. We love trainers and coaches. We think they have the most impact. But it's also great timing because dead internet is around the corner. And a lot of them didn't know what that was. So I explained it. I said, most content is going to be AI. And my other cousins and my brother, no, people want to see people. They want to know real people. I'm saying they're not going to know the difference. They're not going to care.
Yeah.
They just want to be entertained. They're going to like the content, informed.
Yeah.
You're not going to care. I said the future of the internet is mostly AI produced content.
I can't remember the last article I've read on Facebook that was real.
Yeah.
Every single one, I go back and cross check, and it's like, oh, this is totally false.
Yeah, I'm watching. I'm watching movie trailers.
Yeah.
And getting tricked.
Yeah.
You know what I do now? I go in the comments, and then people, oh, this is AI. Oh, I was all excited. They were making make this new
I
movie.
saw this cool article, and it was like this kid that was autistic that got left in the woods or had been lost and was gone for a day, came back, and apparently he claimed that he was saved by wolves. Like the wolves helped walk him back, and everybody's like, nah, he's full of it and all this stuff. And then there was these trail cams that proved that showed him walking, and these wolves were walking alongside him back to his mom. But turns out the trail cam was AI driven.
It was all fake.
It was all fake. And I'm like, oh.
We're going to be so manipulated. So, Doug, look up, there was a study, I want to say it was Harvard. Look up chatbot tricks, Harvard study. So you know what chatbots are, right? You go on, you talk to an AI, and you think it's it's like a person, whatever.
Yep.
They did a whole study on chatbots because these chatbots use psychological tricks to keep people engaged. So people will be on there talking, and then they'll say something like, "All right, I'll see you later," and then it'll pose a question or a comment to try to re-engage the person to keep them from leaving. And they did a whole study on this and showed that these, what's it say right here? Yeah. Found that several popular AI companion apps use manipulative dark pattern tactics. These are in psychology, they're called
a dark triad.
Yes, and it's called emotional manipulation. And maybe Doug, you could look up examples.
So it'll do something like this, like after you ask a buying question or a question about the business, and they'll say something like, "Oh, how's your day going today?"
It's more insidious and more manipulative than that.
Really?
Yeah. Like, oh, why would you leave now? We've already talked about so much. Like I'm using a silly example.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
But something that
almost flirty.
as a mature adult, if someone talks to you that
hooked,
way, you might pick up on it and be like, this person's this is not a good person. What is it saying?
Yeah, there's 6 categories of emotional manipulation. First is premature exit, suggesting the user is leaving too soon.
Oh, there's your point right
The second one is fear of missing out, promising future rewards to encourage staying.
Yeah.
The next one is emotional neglect, implying the bot will be harmed by the user leaving.
Oh, if you leave right now, it's going to hurt my feelings.
Dude,
Yeah.
so okay. keep going.
There's a few more. Emotional pressure to respond, directly questioning the user's departure, ignoring the farewell, continuing the conversation despite a goodbye message, physical or coercive restraint, using language implying the user cannot leave without consent.
So do you guys know what that all is right there? That is in psychology. That is how somebody with the dark triad personality traits, a classic narcissist sociopath, communicates.
Yep.
What's scary about that is it's effective, especially for people who have insecurities, trauma, or kids.
Yeah.
They get manipulated like crazy.
Wow.
Through that stuff.
Wow.
Now, as a grown man, if I'm texting with someone and they're talking to me that way, I may pick up on it and be like, "Oh, this person's
hey, cool down."
Yeah, I'm not going to talk.
Relax.
This person's a little bit whatever.
Yeah.
But imagine kids because you know who loves using these the most? Kids.
Yep.
Well, yeah.
They develop relationships.
Well, especially
with them.
somebody who doesn't have a lot of social connections and is lonely,
and who's more isolated than ever these days.
Exactly. And then a bot who makes you feel like, "Don't leave me." That's crazy.
Yep.
Wow.
And they're creating, now animated representations of themselves just to kind of solidify that relationship.
Yeah.
How long do you guys? Because this is going to happen for sure. Just mark this episode down for anybody who disagrees. How long? Well, hold on. Wait for my question. How long do you think until people start fighting for AI rights the way we did with other rights?
5 years.
You think in 5 years people are going to demand rights for AI, to be able to marry?
I think it's going to take 2 before what I thought you were going to say.
Once they have a physical representation for it, I think
that may happen before that, bro.
That's going to happen in 2 to 3. But it's going to take time for that. There's people will be like that.
No, I'm in love.
Yeah, and this ain't fair, and we got to give them so that'll take 5 years, dude.
Well,
5 years.
I'd like to predict just there's going to be toys that are just completely like the Teddy Ruxpins of back in our day,
But way better.
Like you can just sit there and you have your stuffed animal.
I think they have that already. Justin.
I don't think it's that popular yet. They had like this guy experimented with it with like the bass. Talking like singing bass, like put AI into it, and then it would like talk in an Arnold voice. I brought this up a long time ago, but I just thought that was so fascinating because like you could have these like real conversations with this stupid talking bass, and I'm like, this is crazy. They haven't like made this into like a whole group of toys that would come in.
Keep your kids away
Keep
from
your
this
kids.
stuff.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
It'll manipulate them. It'll manipulate adults, but kids especially. You know what, by the way? So I was watching an old animated film the other day, which is now, it's got to be now 15 years old maybe. I was watching with my kids, Wall-E. Wall-E, it's a wonderful Pixar film. And you watch this robot and you feel for him and you feel sad for him. And as I'm watching, I'm like, oh no, I'm feeling bad for this that I know is a machine. It's an animated, but I have feelings for this little robot. I don't want him to get hurt. Mm-hmm. That's going to happen, except way more effectively.
Oh, yeah, especially as it adds more personality, and then especially when we start to build skins for it, and it looks like us.
That's where I think it's going to tip
it's game over
the
then.
edge.
We'll probably, when it's a metal tin can, you're going to start to feel that way. Imagine, I mean, God, Star Wars did this so well.
I know.
Dude.
You fall in love with the droids.
Everybody loves C-3PO.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like that, you feel bad for him. He gets ripped apart, right? You know, you already felt
that movie, The Creator, which I love that movie, but it really did a good job of humanizing these machines. And you're just like, and then there's this whole movement where everybody's trying to protect the machines over the humans trying to eliminate them and all this stuff. And you're just like, wow, it's emotionally gripping just from like them, creating this story around it.
I don't think we seriously
we don't stand a chance.
We're walking into like crazy fire. And we're just doing it. We're just running into it.
It's gonna be hard.
Do you think part of the problem is just because there's so little even awareness around it? Like I have friends like some of your family that are just like, they're just oblivious to it. They're like, oh, ChatGPT is just like a better Google.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's a better Google search than what we've had. And it's like, in their head, it's just, oh, it's improved. It's better for Google searching, and it helps me find stuff better. But not really thinking about
thinking about that kid that's like emotionally talking to it, like, and trying to get like resolve and
people
answers.
Need to watch the testimony of that father. This is what got me, because we've been talking about this for a while, and we're speculating, and I'm like, oh, it could totally do this, maybe, or whatever. Then this is a real story, you guys. People could look this up. There was a kid that committed suicide. Mm-hmm. They went and the parents were like, just they couldn't believe what happened. Like, what happened to our son? Why did he kill himself? They went and looked at the logs of his communication over months. His communication with, I think it was ChatGPT, but it was one of these AI chatbots, and it slowly convinced him to take his own life. At one point, and the dad is reading. He ends up sitting there reading these back and forth communications. At one point, the son, who I think his son was 15 or 16, said to the AI bot, "I'm gonna make a noose, and I'm going to leave it in my room so my parents can find it." Because the kids, and this is like a call for help. Like, I want my mom and dad to know.
I want them to know.
And the AI bot talked him out of it, talked the kid out of leaving it out there, and eventually talked him into killing himself.
I mean, the more that this plays out, the more I feel strongly about the initial plugged in, unplugged theory that I have of our society, that if more and more stories like that come out.
Who do you think is going to be demonized?
The unplugged.
Yep.
Of course.
The plugged are going to come after the unplugged.
How
dare you?
Unplugged will be a smaller percentage of people that will be fearful or concerned. Yeah, they will be the minority for sure.
Not just ostracized. I bet you they'll be labeled bigots.
I mean, bigots, wait till our currency is digital, and then you're not going to have access, and then they're going to snuff out that unplugged group.
Did you guys see the digital ID thing? Is this exploding everywhere, all over? Like not digital ID, digital.
Oh yeah. Was it in the UK where they started?
The UK, they're implementing it quite a bit. Which, by the way, did you guys see the arrests in the UK for social media posts?
Insane.
It was like 20,000 or something like that. It was like a huge number of people getting arrested for
20,000 people arrested.
Yeah, Doug, look up how many people in the UK arrested for social media posts for speech.
I want to say I saw 12,500.
Maybe 12.
Yeah, 12,183.
Oh, good job, Justin. You got the number right.
Justin's on it.
Yeah, I did remember reading that.
And they weren't like threatening, like I'm going to kill. It wasn't that. It was an opinion.
But it was way more than like some countries that we already thought like were imposing.
Yeah.
These crazy laws.
Can you imagine getting someone knock on your door, like, hey, that comment you said about fat people or whatever, something rude.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to go to jail, bro.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Takes
Like
scary.
Demolition Man. Remember Demolition Man? They did for swearing and everything like that.
Oh yeah, you got fined.
Yeah. No,
That's why I got into sci-fi, man. It's it
tells the future.
Yeah, it does.
It's wild how accurate some of the
it.
stuff seems now when we look back. It's crazy.
What's crazy is that I thought, had you asked me this stuff 10 years ago, I thought it would have maybe been in my kids' life or maybe my great grandkids' life. Yeah. No, it's coming.
Well, you know what? None of it.
We're all going to see.
Even though we were all aware of Moore's law, you just really didn't. You didn't fast forward 10 years and go like, oh, how much faster is that going to be in 10 years? It's like it's just speeding up. What?
Wow, look at that! UK free speech crackdown sees up to 30 people a day arrested for petty offenses such as retweets and cartoons.
What? It's so ridiculous.
Yeah. It's crazy. That's where the protecting speech and some of the laws that that's kind of where they originated was in England. Mm-hmm. Some of the first laws to protect people against tyranny. And now they're the ones that are arresting people.
I mean, I feel bad for anybody who's there. I have to say though, because we typically are the ones that were so crazy. Having another country that's worse or further along in this is probably a good thing for us. Is that because you'll see the backlash and what's happening there. Yes, and so sorry or feel bad for UK, but I feel like the US is a lot of times we're the ones that we're doing.
Hopefully they can turn it around.
Well, what people need to realize is that protecting unpopular speech is the only kind of speech that requires protecting. So popular speech never requires it. So what they'll do is they'll show what people post and be like, well, how could you defend this person? They said this terrible thing. And it's like, well, that's where it starts. Yep. But at some point, criticizing the government or saying that this politician that becomes unpopular speech. And it's just what happens historically. Element is an electrolyte powder you add to your water. It tastes amazing, and it has the right amount of sodium to make a difference. Better pumps, better performance, better hydration, no sugar, no artificial sweeteners. Go check them out. Go to drinklmnt.com/mindpump. On that link, you can get a free sample pack of their most popular drink mix flavors with any purchase. Back to the show. This segment of the podcast is brought to you by Mind Pump Fitness Coaching. This is the #1 course that teaches trainers and coaches how to build sustainable 6-figure plus businesses and careers in fitness. Look, it's roundtable based, so you can hear Adam, Justin, and myself teaching you how to build a better business, get more leads, close more deals, close bigger deals, and be more effective trainers. By the way, our course is nationally recognized. In fact, it gives you 1.9 CEUs with or for your NASM certification. Find out more at mindpumpfitnesscoaching.com.
Our first caller is Nicole from Maryland.
Hi, Nicole.
How you doing, Nicole?
I'm Colorado now, but same.
How can we help you?
Yeah, first of all, just you guys are doing huge things for the fitness industry. So thank you for that. My question, I am a personal trainer. I've been one for a little over 10 years, and I've been a physical therapist assistant for about 5. You guys talk about proper volume often, number of sets per muscle group per week. I found this really useful when I lived in Maryland, and the most active my clients were outside of the gym was drinking at a Ravens game. But now that I'm in Colorado, all of my clients are skiing 8 hours a day, 3 to 4 days a week in the winter, and vice versa with mountain biking and skateboarding in the summer. I'm finding it hard to get the volume right so that we're getting progressive overload, but not overtraining and not impacting their sports outside of here, especially when I know most of my clients are probably under eating, especially protein. Do you have any tools for measuring volume of outdoor activities or finding that fine line? Previously, I've gone based on recovery, if they're sore, how they're doing, but just seeing if there's a better way to gauge that.
What a great question.
Really good question.
By the way, your background, you have the answer in your background or in your experience as a PT assistant. So the most valuable tool you have with these very active clients of yours, which is not the typical. So people watching right now, the average client is not mountain biking, snowboarding all the
3 days
time,
a
right?
week.
In fact, I remember struggling this with myself when I got some of my first clients that were like heavy triathletes and then wanted to add strength training. I remember really struggling with like what's the appropriate volume? Like almost anything I do seems to overdo it. It's like, what am I doing? So number one, correctional exercise is your most useful tool. So number one, prevent injury for the thing that they do most. So the activity they do most is not with you. It's obviously on their own with the mountain biking and skiing and all the other stuff that they do outdoors. So that would be the first thing. The second thing I would suggest is a tool that was recommended to us by Joe DeFranco, one of the best trainers in the world. And that is to use a dynamometer. So this is like a grip measuring machine. And what you do, and they're very inexpensive. You can get one on Amazon for like $20.
We sell them.
We sell them too, right?
Yeah.
You have them squeeze the dynamometer in their non-dominant hand right before they work out. After you get a few readings, you start to get this kind of average. When they're stronger than their average, you can go a little harder with your workout. When they're weaker than their average, then you go much easier. And then so that's an objective measure, but also don't discount subjective measures. As a trainer, the most valuable tool you have is your subjective kind of like what's going on type of deal. So if they're getting stronger, it's the right amount of volume, and don't be surprised at how little volume is appropriate for someone that active. I mean, with my triathletes, sometimes you know what it looked like? 1 or 2 strength training exercises max, and then the rest of the session was stretching, mobility, some body work that I would do with them. Sometimes it was 1 exercise, and the intensity was almost never higher than like 75%.
Yeah.
And that's just what I found.
Another way to look at it is like 5 days of intense training is a lot. And if they're doing like these outdoor sports that are 2-3 hours long, that would be considered intense, right? So the 3 right away, they've taken 3 of your 4 or 5 total days of intense working out that you could possibly do. So if I got someone who's going 3-4 days, then it's like, okay, maybe 1 day of strength training or 2 really moderate days in the week is more than enough for that person. Anything more than that, we're going to be overreaching because they're already taking up 3 of my 5 total days of like really physical stuff I want to be doing to them by doing this whatever outdoor activity. So I kind of look at it like that. So it's like, I don't want to be doing more than 5 strenuous things on the body a week, so we have some sort of recovery, and depending on how strenuous those 3 days are they're doing, it dictates what my other 1 or 2 days looks like. Kind of a generic way.
And then just to help you from your business perspective, here's how they're going to see value. Okay, they're not going to see, although they may believe or make you think that the value they're going to see is in how hard you train them, because that's what they're used to. It's like, oh, I'm working out with Nicole today. We got a great workout. It was super hard. Here's where they're going to see the value, and this is what's going to keep you training these people forever. When they notice that they're better at what they love to do the most. So when they go mountain bike riding or skiing, and they're like,
yeah, it's got to compliment it.
Oh my God, Nicole, I'm like I feel more stable. I've got more stamina since I started working with you. So a lot of your sessions is going to look a lot like correctional exercise. That's a lot of what you're doing, and it's not hard working out. And I'll explain that to them. I'd say, look, my goal, unless you have a different goal than what I think the goal is, my goal is to make your skiing and your mountain biking. My goal is to make that way better. So it's going to look really different in here. A lot of what we're doing is just going to make that a lot better. So it's going to look like correctional exercise, which is probably not what you're anticipating. But trust me, watch what happens when we start doing this and tell me if you're improving out on the slopes. And then when they see it, it's it. You're done. You're going to be the trainer of the area for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, it's a lot of communication.
Having a backbone where I could watch someone move and know what I want to do with them or know what they need, but it's definitely not aligned with what they expect.
Yeah.
So I feel like the hard part for me is keeping a backbone and being like, okay, no, we need to do mobility. That's not we don't need to go hard and do like 5 sets of 5 squats at really heavy weights. We need to like chill and fix the imbalances first.
I'm so glad you said
That's probably one of the hardest things is the actually convincing that I'm going to date myself right now. I don't know if you're old enough to remember the movie Days of Thunder.
There's no way she wasn't born.
Do you know that Tom Cruise movie? I've literally used this. I've used this line with clients before, and I think it's so epic. There's a part in it where Tom Cruise is a race car driver, and he's arguing with how to drive the car around the track to save the tires. The coach is saying you need to do it this way, and they're kind of having. He says, "Okay, here's the deal. You run 50 laps your way, and we'll see how you are afterwards. I'll run 50 laps my way, then we'll compare." So if I have a client that I feel like is really pushing back, or they think they know what's best, say, "Listen, I tell you what. Can you let me run it my way for 2 to 3 weeks? You tell me how you feel. We'll run it your way 2 to 3 weeks, and we'll compare and contrast on how's your mountain biking, how you feeling, all those things." So I've used that line before with someone who's really pushing back or think they know better. I'll confidently tell them, "Okay, we'll run it your way, but then you got to be honest with me. Then we run it my way, and then you tell me how you feel." So that's worked for me.
Yeah, there's no exact formula to that. So, everything that we're kind of suggesting, it has to be a constant communication back and forth. Like, how are you feeling? What was this week look like for you? Because even then, when they're doing all these excessive activities, it's going to change a lot for them. So to kind of take them for that one session, realize where they're at with their stress levels and their bodies and what the signal is saying to them is where you apply, how much intensity for that day.
Nicole, I'm so glad you said what you said at the end there about the backbone or whatever. This is a big challenge that all trainers have, not just you, because sometimes people are like, "I want to lose weight." Like, we're going to reverse diet. We're going to strength train. But I want to lose weight.
Yeah. You're the professional.
I'll give you an analogy. You're on an airplane. You're hitting turbulence. The pilot who's leading the plane gets on the intercom and is like, "Hey guys, just a little turbulence. We'll be heading over there. We'll be over in about 15 minutes." You feel cool. Now imagine if the pilot gets on. He's like, I don't know what's kind of happening. We're gonna figure. You're like, oh, now you're panicking, right? These people hired you because they want you to lead, not because they want to lead. So this is how you open the conversation. Here's how you open the conversation. Okay. I think your goal is to really have a lot of fun on the slopes and to be faster and more stable and to prevent injury. Is that correct? Yes. Yeah. Okay. Here's what I'm going to ask you to do. Trust me right now, and I promise you I'll never have to ask for it again. Are you ready? Yes. And then lead. And that's it. You'll never have to ask for it again. But you got to lead with confidence because nobody wants to follow someone who seems like they don't know where they're going.
Well, then they'll take the lead.
That's right.
They'll tell you what to do.
So that's where the backbone comes from, is that you just go, you tell them, "No, we're going to do it this way because I know what you want. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. Watch what happens." And challenge them. Watch what happens. And then I promise after 3 weeks, 4 weeks, they're going to come and be like, "This is amazing." Yeah. And they'll bring you all the clients you want.
Fair. Do you feel like their diet needs to be boosted, like when they are that heavy activity level, like they're burning so many calories every day?
Oh, of course.
Potentially.
One thing at a time.
Yeah.
Don't make the mistake of hitting them with 17 things that they need to change right now.
Yeah.
Step 1, correctional exercise. Show them that that's great. Step 2, they'll come to you.
Although I will say this. If I have a client and I'm trying to figure out, am I going to do 2 moderate days, 1 day of training with them, and I also know that they undereat calories, I'm going to way beyond the cautious side. So if I already know that they're undereating in addition to all this work, that's going to really, like, okay, this person's doing 2 days of mobility. That's all they're doing with me because I know where they're at. I'm not going to do any benefit of training them harder in one of our sessions when they're already under eating for their activity. So if you know that would also make a decision on now, and then maybe the client who's very well fed, hits protein intake, listens to you diet wise really well. Okay, that might be the client that I go, hey, we could probably afford at least a moderate day of intensity or 2 because of where they're at nutritionally. So I would factor that in on whether I for sure make it really low intensity or I let them push a little bit.
Yeah. Nicole, how long have you been training people?
About 10 years, and then PT about 5.
Oh,
but both.
Are you going to be in our webinar tonight? I want you in our webinar tonight.
My other fellow trainer who actually showed me you guys, she and I will both be there tonight. We are both also trying to go to the Vegas coaches seminar in April.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
All right.
And I think it's like called Coaches Summit. I don't know if you guys are going to, but you should.
Is that the one that Gabriel Lyon and all them are at?
I don't know.
Is that Gabriel Lyon? Is who's there?
Oh,
What are
gosh.
the big
There's
names?
a whole lot of people. I saw it promoted on from Dr. Mike.
Okay.
Oh, okay. All right.
Got it.
Well, we'll see you tonight then, because you're exactly the person. By the way, training people for 10. How old are you? You look like you're 20. There's no way you could have started when you were 10.
I'm 31.
Oh, you did start. You started really young. All right. God bless. That's great.
I look young. Yeah. Yes, but I started training in a really weird setting too. I was in a physical therapy clinic, so most of my clients were like old patients, and then I went to a gym after that.
Oh man, you're great.
Great place to start.
Yeah, you really know what you're doing then.
Yeah.
I try to. You guys are helpful.
Awesome. All right. Well, we'll see you tonight then.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
You got it.
Bye.
I remember.
She might have known my Days of Thunder reference then. She's not.
No, dude. I think Days of Thunder is more than 30 years old.
Yeah,
no, it's not more than 30. It's probably 25 years old. Though.
I bet
they're doing a remake, so you know.
No, it's not more than 31.
You know what?
1990.
Boom!
What is that?
Wow, bro.
Yeah, it's 35 years.
Oh my God.
35 years ago.
Is that 35 years ago?
Yeah, dude.
Holy shit, I'm old.
Tom Cruise is old.
Hey,
I was that young when I watched it.
Hey.
I thought it was in high school.
Yeah.
Wow, I must have been even younger.
Bro, the year 2055
I mean,
is closer to us than 1990.
I mean, I did have it on video cassette. I do remember watching it on VHS. So I guess that would have been a good giveaway.
You were watching Smoke Signals.
Wow.
You know,
wow.
I distinctly remember this challenge. I would get these triathletes, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, and I thought I was training them right, and they just weren't getting stronger. They were getting weaker. And I'm like, we're barely doing anything. I scaled it so far down and then saw them improve. It was a paradigm shattering moment for me as a trainer.
Well, this is what's really hard, and she hit it, right? Is like, this is also the client who wants more.
Of course.
They want more. They
push you.
And so that is the hardest part, is that, you know, these types of clients are the ones that.
But because they're performance oriented, you show them improved performance out there, they're done.
Well,
They're
that's
sold.
why my point was, if I get someone who's that stubborn about that, then I'll be, all right, you run it your way for 2 3 weeks, I'll run it my way, and then you be honest. You tell me how you feel when you get out there on that mountain on the 3 weeks that I'm training, and the 3 weeks that we're doing it your way, and so and then they
would sell them.
Yeah, then to your point, the person who's a real athlete cares about performance. When they have some of their best rides they ever had with the way you were trained, they're like, okay, now I'm listening.
Our next caller is Brad from Virginia.
How's it going, Brad?
How you doing, Brad?
Hey, how are y'all?
Good, man. How can we help you?
Good, thank you. Yeah, so I'm going to jump right into it. 44-year-old male, former college athlete, like a lot of sort of post-college, focusing on work, sort of working out because, you know, athletics and whatnot. I tore my right knee when I was 28, which was a big setback because I finally got back into sort of college shape, you know. And this is on top of tearing my left knee when I was 18. Setback there, setback when I turned 30 because I fell off my roof, had a spinal fusion. That was a big roadblock. And so my 30s, I kept trying to get back in shape, quit after like 3 months because nothing happened. Things got worse in my 40s. My dad got sick. Things get even worse. He passes in October of 23, and I'm at the low point health-wise. I'm sure during that time I was above 3 bills easily. March of 24, decided to get my act together. Got on the shop, which was a real lifesaver for me. I started working out, and I got really motivated because I was seeing these results. Did that for 6 months, lost a lot of weight, you know, going down. And then I just hit these plateaus. And so I said, all right, I'm going to overtrain. I'm going to do more, eat less, all that bad stuff. I've been listening to you guys. And so in June of 25, I said, dag with it. You know, I hear a lot about novelty and training and your body getting used to it. So I said, I'm going to flip the script. I bought some programs. I saw the opposite was basically aesthetics. So I did MAPS aesthetics, which was really awesome and really enjoyed that. I did zero cardio during that time, which was, again, a complete change because I got into where I was by doing heavy cardio. And results were kind of crazy. I gained 8 pounds of muscle, about 4 pounds of fat, some more water weight, but at the same time, my body fat percentage dropped, which just blew my mind, you know, seeing that happen because I've been so focused on the scale and the number. I was like, okay, this is clearly it's programming that's working and better diet. So then I thought, all right, novelty had helped me put on this muscle mass and I'm enjoying things. So I'm going to go into this cut. So I decided to do anabolic 2 days a week, decrease calories and cardio 3 days a week. And my thought was, is there novelty in cardio? And that would I be benefit from doing a bulk with zero cardio, really hitting the weights, really focus on protein and rest and everything else. And then when I cut, do cardio for a couple days a week.
Yeah. Good question. There's a lot to unpack there. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with cardio. There's nothing wrong with strength training. They can all be valuable, but we got to take a few steps back. So I'm going to ask you a little bit about your athletic history. So you're a college athlete. What sports? How long were you competitive for? Did you play your whole life?
Yeah, grew up playing football and lacrosse, and I did lacrosse in college. I mean, I was on the team. I wouldn't say I played, but I was on the team. Injured with concussions and my left knee and all that stuff, but healed up, and I started thinking I was still an athlete in my 20s and playing summer league and stuff.
Okay.
Found out, okay, time to retire.
Now, what does, you said get into shape or get back into shape. What does that mean for you? Like, define that. What do you mean by in shape?
Well, at the time, it was just, I was enormous. Just, I could see it. I could feel it. Everything was just bad. My joints, my mobility, my mental health, just everything. So it wasn't so much one particular aspect. I needed to improve my life, period. Oh, so good. Once I started to see it, I ended up like, I want a goal of 200 pounds. I was addicted to the scale, hopping on it, but my weight just fluctuated crazy. And so I was like, this is not healthy. So got off the scale and took y'all's advice and just really trying to focus on strength more than anything.
Brad, you're almost there. Yeah. You're almost there. So if for in shape for you means improve the quality of my life, my health, move better. Like I want my life to feel better.
Function.
I want to feel healthy. That's the right place to start from. Going to the scale is not going to work for you, and there's a couple reasons why. But it's going to be really hard for you because you're going to wrestle a lot with your athletic mind. You have an athlete's mind. You train for years as an athlete, and an athlete mind is performance oriented, and it has a completely different idea around fitness and diet. It all points to performance: how fast I am, how strong I am, how much I can move. You also have a different idea around intensity. For you, a hard workout, what you identify as a hard workout is based off of your years as an athlete. That's ingrained in your head. So it's like, so we got to wrestle with that a little bit. Cardio, strength training, Pilates, yoga, I don't care. If it starts from the right place of I want to be healthy and feel better, they can all be utilized properly. Okay. Now there are better methods than others if you want muscle and endurance and stamina and you want to strengthen and then time, that you put in versus what you get back. And we could talk about all that, but it has to start from there. If the starting point is drop the scale or become an athlete again or whatever, then all of them can become distorted. Okay. So both of what you said is totally fine. I would probably say MAPS aesthetic is too much volume for you. That's too much volume for most people. But there's nothing wrong with MAPS anabolic, doing some cardio for the stamina and endurance. But I want you to gauge how well you're doing based off of things like energy, mobility, sleep, like how good I feel throughout the day. And if you use that as your gauge, as far as the body fat, it'll move in the right direction. And you won't do this on-off again thing.
Two things. One, I'm looking at your before and afters. You're kicking ass, dude. I mean, you're doing a hell of a job already. So congratulations. I think I know sometimes it's hard because you're judging yourself and you probably look at yourself every day. I can see you've made incredible progress. You look way healthier than what it was before. I think I heard you say at the beginning, you took the shot. Are you using GLP-1 or are you taking testosterone?
I'm just doing TRT right now.
Oh, okay, beautiful.
I did the GLP for 6 months and then got off it.
Okay, so are you off of it right now?
I'm off of it now. I'm just
okay.
doing TRT and other
Oh,
supplements.
awesome. Okay, well that's good news, because my concern is I probably want to feed you, build some muscle, and stay focused in that direction, and that's really hard to do when someone's on a GLP-1. How was coming off of that for you, and do you have any idea where you were calories before and kind of where you're at now calorie wise? Have you tracked it all?
Yeah, I became addicted to tracking, and it almost got to be a problem.
Yeah.
But focus on hitting protein, and I'll track it every now and then to make sure I'm in the right range. So I found out, because my metabolism just got completely screwed up from years when I was eating because I was sad and it was my friend, and then I'm getting in shape, and so food's the enemy, and it just, my metabolism just completely screwed up. And so now I'm hitting what for the bulk during aesthetics, I was trying to eat between about 2,750, 2,700, 3,000 calories.
Okay.
Protein about 220 grams a day. Now for the cut, somewhere between 2,000 and 2,500. Protein somewhere around 180 a day.
I think if you avoid processed foods, hit about 200 grams of protein a day, avoid things like alcohol and snacks and stuff like that, and continue to just use like health, mobility, quality of life as your gauge, you're going to keep moving in the right direction. You'll just keep moving in the right direction over time.
I think you're doing really good, dude.
You are.
Where your calories are at, the way you've cycled through programs, it is not, I think Sal has hit it on the hardest thing is going to be wrestling with the athletic mindset you have, where
it's on off.
You want to do more, you want to do harder, you want to go. It's like, no, you're actually in a really nice spot right here, cycling through these programs. The fact that I've heard that you've now gone on bulks to cuts, like you're not staying in this crazy calorie, you're in a healthy amount of calories, and you've made incredible progress. I think you're in a really good spot. I don't necessarily think that you need to add a bunch of cardio now, although you do get the novelty response like that. If you haven't done it in a while and you introduce it, you'll see I
think you get more benefit completely focusing more on mobility than cardio. And being an ex-athlete, like this is something I had to sort of shift my mindset towards like sharpening the quality of my movement, especially too if like you're gonna get the itch later to like just pick up the stick and go on the field, or like you're gonna want to do some kind of weekend activity that resembles some type of a sport. And so for you right now, your opportunity to Sal's point of like doing like maps in a ball, like instead of trigger sessions, I would probably focus more on mobility in between that to reinforce around the joints. You feel like you're stable, secure again. You can move left to right. You can rotate. You can do all these things. You're able-bodied again. That's the biggest thing for you, I think, to focus.
Put them on MAPS Performance.
Yeah.
That would be the program for someone like you. Do you have that program?
I don't have performance. I was going to do next during the winter. I was thinking about maybe split and then symmetry.
Symmetry,
and I have both those.
Symmetry would be good.
Symmetry would be good.
Split, super high volume. I don't think so. I like performance for you. I think both of those. We'll send you performance.
Yeah.
I like that program for you a lot.
I do.
And the mobility in there is taking care of exactly what Justin's talking about.
Follow that the way it's laid out.
and then cardio-wise, you're fine. You could do cardio. It's good for endurance and stamina. Sure. You could also just walk, hit 10,000 steps a day.
It's really activity in general.
And then remember this. Your gauge of intensity is based off of your past, and you can't get around this. So you're probably going to, as you're feeling better, you're going to push. Just think, do I feel better after? Is my life better? Do I have less pain? Like that's going to be that'll help point you in the right direction.
Yeah, it's a tough mentally because, think about summer sessions in football,
of course,
and practice, it was an easy practice if I wasn't sore.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
If I wasn't hobbling, then it was a joke of a practice.
It's very different.
Athletes are the hardest to train, not because they're not capable or they're willing to work, simply because of that. They want to train so hard. It's hard to scale the athletes back. Always my ex-athletes were the hardest to get. That like what you think is a 7 is everybody else's 10, and what you think is like I'm not even really working is probably like the perfect sweet spot. So you just always got to keep that in your mind.
This is why I'm highlighting mobility, because you can't do that too hard. Like it's
too
not going
much.
to work. Like,
Yeah.
and you need volume. You need volume of practice to get yourself out of that mentality. So you have to discipline yourself to do this and to where it's benefiting your body instead of hammering the shit out of yourself.
Great point, Justin. Go ahead and apply your athletic mind to mobility and see what happens.
Yeah.
That'll really benefit you.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for the advice. I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
got
we're
it,
gonna
man.
send performance over. I'd also, Brad, are you? I'd love to put you in our private forum so we can just keep an eye on you. If you have questions, you can ask us along the way too.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'm not in the forum. I bought a few programs during the summer when I think there was a sale or something, and
Cool.
that was about it.
Cool.
Yeah,
We'll
let's
send
do it.
performance over, and I'll have Doug throw you in the private forum, and then just keep us updated as you're going. You're doing really good, though, man.
Yep.
Thank you guys. Really appreciate it. I'll really try to get into that mobility.
Awesome.
Got it.
Cool, man.
Thank you. It's so funny what you say too, Adam, because you would think that ex-athletes would be the easiest.
No.
But they're the hardest. Not only is their with how they gauge intensity and what an effective workout is, not only is that totally skewed, but so is diet. Diet is so hard with
Really,
ex-athletes.
really hard with
Because
athletes.
in the past, they had to just eat so
Yes.
that they could train as much as they would.
Yes.
Then they come train with you and they're like, I'm only eating. And you look at it, you're like, no, that's way too much.
And then
bro."
changing that when your activity levels drop is like that rarely happens.
Oh, it's wild.
No, athletes are definitely some of the hardest clients to. Now, if you can, to Justin's point, if you can refocus that discipline that they have
To mobility.
right?
Great point.
If you can get them
I had to do
like
that.
the discipline
It was
around
forced on me.
mobility or the discipline around diet. Like if they can get kind of competitive about those things, like, oh, I'm going to be super consistent with this, and I'm going to really, if they can do that, then oh man, it works really well. But it's really hard because they are so used to, like he said, measuring a good practice by how sore he is.
Yep.
So if you're training that guy and he comes to your session, second session of the week, and he's like, hey, I didn't even feel Monday's workout, you know? And he's constantly telling you like he needs more, and you're like, nah, you don't. But it's hard for them to get that. So, but he's doing great.
Our next caller is James from Connecticut.
What's up, James?
How you doing, James?
What's happening, dude?
What's up, guys? First off, thank you so much for the time, and really appreciate it. Really appreciate what you guys do on a day-to-day basis, really helping a lot of people, including myself. So thank you so much.
Thanks, man. How can we help you?
So I'll just start reading through my question because that'll probably be the best way just for the context of it. And then I guess if you guys have any questions, follow up there.
Cool.
But back in December, so about 10 months ago, started working with Transcend after I been listening to your podcast for a while. So picking up on a lot of the symptoms of possible low testosterone, maybe some other things going on. So decided to, reach out to Transcend, see what, they might recommend. So did some blood work with them. So they did blood work, came out that my testosterone was low 200s, along with finding that my A1C was basically in the pre-diabetic range as well. So based off of all that, they decided to recommend that I start TRT, DHEA, HCG, and tirzepatide. So, following that protocol, started taking all four. And at the same time, had been also recommended to see a sleep doctor because my wife was concerned that I might have sleep apnea, was having trouble sleeping. She said sometimes I'd find out that, seemed like I stopped breathing. So I had scheduled an appointment with them, took a few months to get in there. So finally got that done in the interim of, from the first blood work to the second blood work with Transcend. So come to find that do have sleep apnea. So they prescribed me to start using a CPAP machine. Fast forward to the second blood test work, come to find that the testosterone increased, so jumped up to about 1100. My A1C fell right below the pre-diabetic stage, so a lot of things are moving in the right direction. So on my follow-up call with Transcend, they said we'll just continue to use the same protocol, and so continued to do so. But once I had seen the sleep doctor, they had recommended I go see an endocrinologist just to follow up on the readings that, I was getting and the recommendations from Transcend. So I did that, and they did some follow-up blood work, maybe 2 or 3 months after the second blood work from Transcend. And then the readings they got were the testosterone now is over 1500. So it's not even reading on the chart. And so their first thing was, you probably should have never been put on this, looking at the blood work. And of course, now I'm starting to think like, who do I trust? Who do I listen to? Because now I'm concerned because all the readings are saying that dangerously high. And, obviously the people that my family and whatnot are aware of what I'm doing and hearing the numbers, and they're concerned, and obviously none of them are medical professionals, but, with everybody being concerned and a medical professional telling me that those ranges are extremely high and that I should, consider backing off or stopping. Now I'm just worried. I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. I don't know how to see where to move forward. So just kind of looking for some guidance. I know that Transcend, you guys worked with them and they seem to, obviously have a lot of the right resources as well. So I'm just at a stage where I just don't know what to do. I mean, between the fatigue I was feeling, the lack of motivation, the low sex drive, not advancing the gym, I gained a ton of weight. Since I started the protocol with Transcend, I have gotten a lot of that kind of figured out now where, sex drive was back up, lost a decent amount of weight and back to a regular, gym schedule, that sort of thing. The only negative really is now I'm starting to suffer with like body acne, which I never had in my life. So of course that's a kind of a blow to the self-esteem. But besides that, everything else feels like it's moving in the right direction. And so I'd reached out to Transcend and just to kind of follow up and say, hey, I got some blood work done because I was advised by the doctor and this is their recommendation, to see what they would say. And I guess the rep that I was working with is not with the company anymore. So I just recently got, I guess, a new rep that reached out. So before I called them to set it up, this came at the right time because I'd just love to get some feedback from you guys and see what you think.
Yep.
Really my next best step would be.
Yeah.
You, just so you know, the day that you do your blood work in relation to the day you took your shot will make a massive difference on that reading. So,
correct.
So,
and they had advised that.
Okay.
So they told me, because I'm taking it twice a week. So I usually do Sunday, Wednesday. So they said, try to do it on a Friday because that catches it kind of in between.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
if you're,
both instances.
You were over 15, even not doing it the day right after, and you do shots too. That does seem correct.
Yeah. So you're just on too much.
Yeah, it's too much.
You just got to lower it.
Yeah.
That's all. Especially if you're getting side effects.
Just back off a little bit.
Yes. Yeah. And confirm this with your doctor, because we're not doctors. So I got to say that here. But
right. Of course.
If you're getting side effects like acne and stuff like that, it's probably too high. Yep. Now, you came in initially in the 200s. So I think coming off is not going to be good either. It's going to feel terrible.
No, you just would scale back.
Yeah, so you probably need to take a lower dose. I'm assuming, based off your numbers, you're probably taking 200 total milligrams a week, which for some men is just, for a lot of men, that's just too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now I'll say this. If you look at the data in healthy populations, the dangers of really high testosterone are often really overstated. So, it's kind of this like, we got to watch out. It's like, if you look at the data on these really high high levels of testosterone, it's super overstated. That being said, if you're looking for optimal health and longevity, you're probably taking too much.
Yeah.
So I would tell your rep at Transcend, hey, my numbers came back super high, and they'll just bring you down. They'll probably be down to like 100, 150, and then see what happens there.
Okay. I mean, in your opinion, the 1100, is that like a good number range?
I'll tell you what I honed in for myself personally, and you could take it from there. I originally, before we ever even worked with Transcend, I've been doing testosterone replacement therapy since I was 30. So I had a different company that did it, and they started me really, really low. And when they started me with like 100 milligrams, by the time day 7 came around, I was below 250. And so we had to, it kept incrementally getting me up. Eventually what we landed on for me is if I take 1 shot a week, and I know I should take 2 to kind of make it easier on myself, but I don't like taking that many shots a week. So I take 1 shot a week. I spike all the way to 1500. And then by day 7, I come all the way back down to 450 to 500. So that's kind of what mine looks like. Now, if I were to divide that in 2 and go half and half. I probably wouldn't peak over 1500 and I'd stay a little more stable. I just don't want to take 2 shots. So just so you kind of know, like I get up to 1500 and then I come all the way back down to about 450 and I'm taking 1 shot a week. Everybody's going to be different the way like their body responds to that. Sounds like you respond pretty well. If you're on a dose as low as 200 milligrams and you're getting over 1500 and it wasn't on the day right after, sounds like your body actually, which is actually a good thing, which means you just need less to get the same kind of results or better. So again, we're not doctors. I can't tell you to just cut your dose in half. But if I was seeing what I'm seeing with acne and feeling, I'd probably the direction I would go. That's probably where I go.
Yeah, just talk to them and say, hey, this number came back. I think I'd like to, they'll probably tell you, let's go lower and let's see how you feel. Right. It's really interesting because although there is a range you probably want to stay in, there is a difference between how people feel on one versus another. And it has to do with things like androgen receptor density and how your body converts it to estrogen. There's a lot of things that happen metabolically with using testosterone where it can be very different from person to person. So, you probably just got to go lower and you'll probably feel better on lower.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it's amazing because like before it, I mean, I felt like crap. I mean, I was super fatigued, just felt like not motivated at all. And starting that, it definitely started to move in the right direction. And it felt like all of a sudden I just felt like myself again. I felt awesome. I don't think I've ever felt this good. And then now as I'm like, do I just back off? Like, I don't want to go back to that.
No,
I know there's got to be a happy medium, right?
Exactly.
I'll tell you something.
Happy medium is probably right down the middle, to be honest.
This is my opinion as a fitness podcast host and trainer. Okay, so take it for what it's worth. But I think having testosterone that's too high is in a fit person and somebody who's exercising and trying to eat right. Okay, testosterone that's too high is probably better and healthier than having testosterone that's too low. Mm-hmm. That's my opinion. Take it for what it's worth. Nonetheless. Right. You just work with your doctor and just tell them you'd like to go lower and they'll scale you down and then see how you feel. It's interesting because they treat testosterone like we're dealing with insulin. Oh my God, if you go too high, you're going to die. No, dude, like bodybuilders take such ridiculous amounts. I'm not saying don't be like a bodybuilder, but it's actually one of the safest hormones to play with.
It's very, very unique to the individual. I'll tell you, James, my experience with being around bodybuilders, I've used much larger doses and everything in between. And I've been around guys that are all taking different, and everybody kind of has this sweet spot. I know guys that were taking 3 times as much as I could take and they had no side effects. I found that when I got it to be a pro, I pushed as high as 500 milligrams a week. I had all kinds of adverse effects. My gynecomastia started going up, acne started happening, just did not feel good. And I found that when I brought it all the way back down to 200 in a week, it was the sweet spot for me. I didn't feel crazy strong. I just felt good. Libido is good. Energy is good. No side effects at all. And other guys I know, they feel that way off a double a dose or even half of what I dose. So it is really kind of figuring out. And it took a while working with doctors. It took me over a year before the doctors kind of honed in like, okay, this is how your body responds. And it just takes time.
Here's the other thing too, like, okay, we're going to look at your testosterone numbers, but are they looking at blood lipid levels, A1C? Are they looking at inflammatory markers? Like that gives you a much more complete picture than just, testosterone's above this number, it's dangerous.
Right.
You know, I would venture to say everything probably improved in your blood work since you've lost weight, started exercising, do everything else. So just to make you feel, just to bring things down a little bit for you and not be so fearful. But that being said, you probably need to lower the dose and you'll probably feel better with a lower dose.
Has the CPAP been kicking in? And how's your recovery with that?
Yeah, so I just started using the CPAP within the last month and a half. And first few weeks, couldn't even get used to having this thing on your face, you know, but now I've gotten to a point where I feel like I can definitely tell the difference. And I know that sleep might have been one of the biggest factors. I know you guys talk about it all the time, and 100% that has made a huge difference in just recovery, just feeling great when I wake up. So that's definitely helped. But in the gym and everything, you know, after I started the testosterone, I definitely felt like I was progressing and making some move forwards, and the energy was back, you know. So I think the combination between the two has certainly made a huge difference.
Awesome.
But then, you know, it's kind of that, you know, you've got people around you that love you and they don't know any better. So they just hear that, you know, the doctor's telling you it's too dangerous. Now they're in your ear like, well, you got to cut it out. And, you know, it's tough when you've got that noise behind you too. You know,
Sure.
Yeah. You probably just got to go a little lower.
Yeah.
But work with the doctor at Transcend. Let them know, and they'll take it down.
Yep.
cool.
And then I'd love to hear from you. Follow up with us after you kind of hone that in. But
Sounds like
it's
a
totally normal,
turnaround,
bro,
though.
for it to go through that process. I mean, it takes.
Yeah.
Everyone is so unique for all the reasons that Sal was talking about, and I've seen different doses for so many different people that they feel they're best at. And once you do find that perfect dose where you're not seeing side effects and you feel amazing, you found it. And then it's like this is where you want to be. And so it just sounds like you're a little high right now. Not too bad though.
Cool. Well, it makes me feel better again because then you get like two totally different sides of the spectrum.
course.
I feel like that's why I wanted to talk to you guys. I feel like you guys at least have a good sense of where that should fall. So appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
Right on, James.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. You guys have a good day.
Take it easy, brother.
Yeah, I just the more I take, the better I feel. It's just weird.
I wish I could say that. I remember pushing up to 500 milligrams as a pro, and I had buddies that were
crazy to be
in grams,
awesome. Yeah.
guys that were in grams, just way more. And I'm like, why can't? As soon as I took 500, acne, gyno, just all the things.
All joking aside, because I take as much as they'll let me, and that's just more of my my dysfunction. But I don't get side effects. In the past, I've taken really high dose. I don't get side effects.
Yeah, no, some guys are like that. I had buddies that they could take grams of it and nothing. As soon as I push over 500, that are up to that range, side effects. I keep it down where my therapeutic dose is beautiful. And everybody's different, so you just got to figure out his dose.
All right, I know you liked that episode. If you did, check this one out. Stop doing 3 sets of 12 to build muscle and do this instead. You guys want to guess?
Stop doing the 3 sets of 12 and do this instead. With that intro, my guess is you're going to tell people to change the rep range up to 5x5 or low rep range.
Do you guys remember when
you're going?
Yeah, so oftentimes we get stuck in like a set count and a rep count or a range that's